Hello and welcome. You're watching Sports Buzz, where we bring you all that's making news from around the world of sports. I'm Samriddhi Goyal. Let's get started. Australia top Ashes first test thanks to a century from Travis Head. End day 2 at 343 for 7 against England. Australia gets the lead with 196 runs at the Gabba in Brisbane. BCCI announces India's test squad for upcoming tour to South Africa. Meanwhile, Rohit Sharma replaces Virat Kohli as India's ODI captain to take over from South Africa series starting next month. Barcelona sign off on the worst Champions League campaign in 2 decades, exit the group stage after defeat at the hands of Bayern Munich. Champions League holders Chelsea blow the chance to top their group after 3-3 draw against Zenit St. Petersburg. Now first up, Travis Head smashed 100 to put Australia on top as Australia ended day 2 of the ongoing first Ashes test against England at a score of 343 for 7 down. Australia gets the lead with 196 runs at the Gabba in Brisbane. Head's century came after Ollie Robinson led England's fight back with 3 wickets to his name earlier in the day. David Warner posted a knock of 94 to help his side overhaul England's first innings total in the post-lunch session after Australia lost their first wicket early in the day. Marnus Labuschagne also scored a half-century and was dismissed for 74 in the day's second session after he combined with Warner to put Australia on top. Now, after bundling out Australia for 147, Australia got off to a bad start as opener Marcus Harris failed to leave a mark with the bat, and he was in fact sent back to the pavilion in the 6th over by Robinson. Labuschagne then joined Warner in the middle and the duo kept on ticking the scoreboard along, ensuring that the host entered the second session of the day with 9 wickets in hand. Warner also got a reprieve in the first over bowled by Ben Stokes as he was clean bowled off a no ball and the left-handed batter survived. Now for the latest on the Ashes, we have our correspondent Narayan Singh, who's joining us for the latest updates. Good evening, Narayan ji, and what is the latest update on the Ashes?
Good evening, Samriddhi. The way the match started on the day when the Mitchell Starc bowled out Roy Burns on the first ball of the match, and the Australians dominated the day 1 after sending the whole England team for 147, and they continued that trend on day 2 also with that when Travis Head scored a brilliant century of 85 balls and put Australia on top. And if you talk about David Warner, he also played a flamboyant knock of above 94 runs and helped Australia to be on the top of this first Ashes test played at Gabba. And apart from that, if you talk about the Australian bowlers, they were excellent, flamboyant. The way their captain, who has been appointed captain, the fast bowler, Pat Cummins, gave a start to his career as a captain, taking a 5-wicket haul for Australia. He, in the last 31 years, he is the first pace bowler captain who did this achievement of taking 5 wickets after Bob Willis in 1981. So a great start for Australia here in the Ashes test. And last time, if we talk about in 2015, England won the Ashes series that when it was played in England. And since 2010-11, England has never defeated Australia on Australian soil in the Ashes Test series. So the things are looking glimmer this time because the Australia is coming back, playing this Ashes series after winning the T20 World Cup. The format is different, but that lifting the T20 World Cup trophy has is like a moral booster for the Australian team, and it acted like a catalyst, and that has been reflected here in the first test match of the Ashes.
Well, that's right. Thank you, Narayan. We'll come back to you for more on the team selection by BCCI and Rohit Sharma's captaincy. We'll come back to you just after our next story. Now, the BCCI has announced India's squad for the upcoming tour to South Africa, and as expected, Virat Kohli will lead the side, while Rohit Sharma has been named as the vice captain for the 3-match test series starting from December 26th. We have more in our next report. The selection of the Indian Test team for the South Africa tour was in fact the real test for the selectors, as it was one tough task. The task of leading the 18-member Indian team for the Test series was handed over to Virat Kohli, while Rohit Sharma was assigned the vice captaincy for the Test, taking the role away from Ajinkya Rahane. This was however good for Rahane, as the team management maintained their faith in him and he was given a place in the team for the South Africa tour. Ravindra Jadeja, Shubman Gill, Akshar Patel and Rahul Chahar have not been included in the team as they are currently injured and recovering. The 18-member Indian contingent for the South Africa tour is as follows: Virat Kohli captain, Rohit Sharma vice captain, KL Rahul, Mayank Agarwal, Cheteshwar Pujara, Ajinkya Rahane, Shreyas Iyer, Hanuma Vihari, Rishabh Pant, Vridhiman Saha, R. Ashwin, Jayant Yadav, Ishant Sharma, Mohammad Shami, Umesh Yadav, Jasprit Bumrah, Shardul Thakur and Mohammad Siraj. Along with this, the BCCI has also replaced the captain for the ODIs. Rohit Sharma has now been handed over captaincy for the T20 as well as the ODI team. Under Rohit's captaincy, India had clean swept the T20 series, beating New Zealand 3-0. Obviously, this flurry of change had begun from the time Virat stepped down as the captain of the T20, and it was only time before it received a formal stamp of approval, which it has now. Sports Desk, DD India. Now we have our correspondent Narayan joining us once again for updates on the key selection that has happened. The BCCI has now selected the Test Series squad, the Indian squad. So Narayan, what do you have more on this? The bowling combination in the Indian squad. Tell us more about that.
Talk about the bowling combination of this team. There are the 6 pace bowlers and the 2 spinners. Both of them are the off spinners, Ravichandran Ashwin and Jayant Yadav, and there is no leg spinner in this team. The thing, because there is the question mark over the fitness of the Ravindra Jadeja and the Akshar Patel. Both are injured according to BCCI, but the nature of their injury and what's the status of their injury is not known. But if you talk about the spin department, there are only 2 spinners. There are Ashwin and Jayant Yadav, and the question here arises that who will fill the shoes of Ravindra Jadeja, because he is also batting for the team, and who will play at the number 7. This question arises, and whether the team goes with 2 spinners, that is Jayant and Ashwin, or they will go with a 4 pace bowler. This remains to be seen. But the big question, if we talk about the batting lineup, it requires a depth, and Ravindra Jadeja has the capability to give that depth to the batting. And in his absence, most probably we can say that Shardul Thakur can be there as a pace bowling all-rounder to give that sort of depth to the Indian batting. If you talk about the pace bowling, Jasprit Bumrah and Mohammad Shami are back in the squad for this series after getting rest for the New Zealand series. So if we talk about the pace, we have a pace-heavy team, and Ishant Sharma is there, Umesh Yadav is there, Mohammad Siraj is there. So if we talk about the pace in South African condition, they can do great things for the India. If you because India has never won a series in South Africa, because it is a final frontier for them to win a series in the South Africa. But it's going to be very tough job, because if we talk about the South African side, it's a very balanced right now, and recently they showed a few good performances, and they have the quality batsmen. Quinton de Kock is there, Dean Elgar is their captain, and if you know, Markram is also in form. So it will be very tough for India to beat South Africa in South Africa. If we talk about the South Africa's bowling, and Nokia is one of the best fast bowler in the world, and their all fast bowlers can bowl with express pace. Kagiso Rabada, Angidi is there, so it will be very difficult for India because the situation in South Africa, if we talk about, it always helps the fast bowlers to deliver, and in that case India must have to give their A game to beat South Africa in South Africa.
Well, that's right. And how does the South Africa squad look like really? And in fact, Rohit Sharma has now also been named the captain for ODIs, replacing Virat Kohli. What do you have on that?
Definitely, South Africa is a strong team, but the way India has recently played in the outside the India in the foreign soil. Last year they defeated, this year only they defeated Australia in the Australian soil after losing the first match at Adelaide, where India were bowled out for a historic low of 36 runs. After that, in the remaining 3 matches, in the absence of one of the greatest batsmen of this era, that is Virat Kohli, they won remaining 2 matches and won 2 consecutive series on Australian soil. So India is, if we talk about India's record in the recent past outside India, is quite good, and they can continue that if India execute their plans and play according to the situation. So it is very, Australia, if we talk about South African team, they are also quite compact and a strong team. Talking about the Rohit Sharma, and now he has been given the reins of the ODI squad. He will captain the Indian team for the ODI series that will held in South Africa. So all in all, it's a good thing that with the white ball, if you talk about white ball, Rohit Sharma is the captain. With red ball, Virat Kohli is there. So definitely it will help both. It will help the team to reduce the workload of both the captains. Virat Kohli is since 2017 he was given the ODI captaincy after the legendary MS Dhoni stepped down. And if we talk about Virat Kohli's record as a captain, he played 95 matches for India, and his winning percentage as a captain is above 70%, and that is exceptional. But if one thing that is Virat Kohli's tenure, he never won a major ICC trophy during his tenure. India was there in the finals, semi-finals, but failed to win that major trophy, and the pressure will be there on Rohit Sharma to win that elusive trophy. If you talk about the T20 World Cup next year, a time of less than 1 year is left for Rohit Sharma to prepare for the T20 World Cup that will be held in Australia next year, and after that next year a one-day World Cup is there. So a lot of expectation are there from Rohit Sharma, because the way he has won 5 IPL trophies for Mumbai Indians, hoping that he will continue that trend in the blue dress also and help India to win ICC's major trophy that India last won in 2013.
Well, that's right. We hope that the trophies come in after Rohit Sharma continues to be the captain. Thank you once again and for joining us and bringing us all those updates. Thank you, Narayan. And we'll now move in to our next segment, news in soccer, while all the action from the Champions League. Now on day 2, as another comprehensive defeat at the hands of Bayern Munich, now Barcelona is out of group stage. The Catalans went into their final game battling Benfica for the second qualifying spot in Group E, and knowing they might well need to chase a result in the Allianz Arena. Now, but Ben Bailey broke sweat in taking apart Xavi's men, while the Portuguese side took the necessary 3 points to send them to the last 16 as runners-up behind Bayern.
Pues que esto debe ser un punto de inflexión.
This has to be an inflection point. A new era for Barcelona must start. We need to rebel against this situation. Evidently, we cannot be satisfied because Barcelona doesn't deserve to be where it currently is. To the fans, we say we will work hard because I feel this club, I love this club. We will work to the limit. We will even leave our skins to recover Barca to a place where it deserves to be, which is not in the Europa League, but that is our reality. We need to face it. It is a harsh truth, but it is what it is. We need to face it. There is no other way but to face it and rise up. We must use this as an inflection point to improve.
Que sirva esto de un punto de inflexión para ir para arriba.
Now, a much-changed Manchester United side produced a lackluster display to draw 1-1 against Young Boys in their final Champions League Group F match at Old Trafford on Wednesday. With United guaranteed top spot in the group, new manager Ralph Rangnick made 11 changes from his first match in charge on Sunday, with Amad Diallo and Anthony Elanga making their Champions League debuts for the club. Young Boys' new victory would give them a chance of finishing third in the group and qualifying for the Europa League, which it was United who started brighter and took the lead in superb fashion on 9 minutes through Mason Greenwood as he caught Luke Shaw's cross with a bicycle kick. However, United missed a host of chances to double their lead and were made to pay 3 minutes before half-time as Fabian Rieder leapt onto Donny van de Beek's poor pass to hit a stunning effort past goalkeeper Dean Henderson from the edge of the box. Juventus progressed to the Champions League knockout stages as group winners after their comfortable 1-0 victory over Malmo on Wednesday, coupled with Chelsea's draw at Zenit St. Petersburg. A much-changed Juventus, already assured of their place in the knockout stages, raced into an 18th-minute lead when Moaz Kian headed his first Champions League goal from an inch-perfect Federico Bernardeschi cross. With Malmo guaranteed to finish bottom of the group, the Swedish has little incentive to push for a leveller, and Juve closed out the win without ever being seriously troubled. The Italian side's fifth win from 6 group games looked to be in vain as England's Chelsea led 3-2 in Russia in stoppage time, but at last gasp Zenit equaliser meant Juve's the finished 2 points cleared at the top of the group. Now, the Champions League holders Chelsea blew the chance to top their group as they were held to a 3-3 draw against Zenit St. Petersburg at the Gazprom Arena on Wednesday. The result sees Thomas Tuchel's side finish second in their group, 2 points behind group winners Juventus, who Sweden's Malmo 1-0 in the other game. Chelsea were dominant early on, taking a lead after just 90 seconds when Timo Werner tapped the ball in from a yard out following a Ross Barkley corner, but Zenit fought their way back into the game with a spell of pressure on the European champions, ending in 2 goals in quick succession. Claudino took advantage of being unmarked on the post to nod in an equaliser on 38 minutes before Sardar Azmoun added a second just 3 minutes later following a Malcolm through ball that put him 1-on-1 with Kepa Arrizabalaga. Tuchel's side improved after the break, drawing the game level once again on 62 minutes after Lukaku jumped on a Werner cross to score his first Chelsea goal since the last time he played Zenit in September. Atalanta's decisive final Champions League group match against Villarreal was postponed due to heavy snow. The winner of the Group F clash in Northern Italy would be assured of the spot in the Champions League knockout stages, but the two sides will have to wait to find out their fate after English referee Anthony Taylor called off the match. Ground staff had done everything they could to get the Stadio Atleti Azzurri d'Italia pitch ready, painting the touchlines red to increase their visibility, and play was initially delayed as snow was cleared. Players were ready, pitch side in their kits, but the snow kept falling, persuading the English officials to make their decision. Atalanta said on social media that the game would now take place on Thursday, with UEFA yet to determine a kick-off time. Tottenham Hotspur's home Europa Conference League game against Rennes has been called off. Now, in a statement, the Premier League said that due to the number of coronavirus cases in the Spurs squad, the game has been called off. Earlier, coach Antonio Conte has also confirmed that there had been 13 positive cases at Tottenham, 8 players and 5 members of the staff.
8 players and 5 members of staff. But the problem is that every day we are having people with COVID. People that yesterday wasn't be positive, today was positive, and we are continuing to have contact with people that we think that are negative, but the day after become positive. I think this is a serious problem. It's very difficult to face. At the end of the train station today, again, 1 player positive. another member of staff is positive. And we had, and tomorrow who? Me? Another player? Another member of staff? And we continue in this way. I think that the situation is serious.
Well, the president of the International Olympic Committee, Bach, said that it should not be interpreted as them taking a side one way or the other when choosing against commenting on political issues. Facing questions about the growing number of countries deciding on a diplomatic boycott at the Beijing Winter Olympic over China's human rights record, Bach said that doing so would go against their mission of uniting the world during the Games. Now, Bach said at a news conference following the second day of its executive board meeting in Lausanne.
It's a clear no by not commenting on political issues. You're not taking a side, neither the one nor the other. And this is, the mission of the IOC. Otherwise, we could not manage to accomplish the mission there of the Games to bring and to unite the world. If we would start to take political sides on one way or the other, we would never get all the 205 or 206 national Olympic committees to Olympic Games. This would be the politicization of the Olympic Games, and this, if I would think it further, could be the end of the Olympic Games, as it was the end of the ancient Olympic Games when politics got involved after 1,000 years of Olympic Games.
Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau said on Wednesday that Canada will join its allies in a diplomatic boycott of the 2022 Winter Olympics in Beijing in February to send China a message over its human rights record. Australia and Britain will join the diplomatic boycott, their prime ministers said on Wednesday, as other allies weighed similar moves to protest at China's human rights record. US President Joe Biden's administration cited what the United States calls a genocide against minority Muslims in China's Xinjiang region. China denies all rights abuses.
For the past many months, we've been in conversation with partners and allies around the world on the issue of the Beijing Olympic and Paralympic Games. As a country, indeed, as many partners around the world, we are extremely concerned by the repeated human rights violations by the Chinese government. That is why we are announcing today that we will not be sending any diplomatic representation to the Beijing Olympic or Paralympic Games this winter. Our athletes have been training for years and are looking forward to compete at the highest level against athletes from around the world, and they will continue to have all of our fullest support as they show the extraordinary success that Canada has at Winter Olympic Games.
Now, China's foreign ministry has said that Australia, Britain and the United States will pay a price for their mistaken acts after deciding not to send government delegations to February's Winter Olympics in Beijing. The US was the first to announce a boycott, saying on Monday its government officials would not attend the February 4th till 20th Games because of China's human rights atrocities, weeks after talks aimed at easing tension between the world's two largest economies.
美、澳、英、加等个别国家拒绝共提北京冬奥会联大奥林匹克休战决议，又自编自导自演，不派官员出席的闹剧，站在了奥林匹克大家庭的对立面。我们希望相关国家践行更团结的奥林匹克精神，而不要做破坏奥林匹克事业的 ABC。
Now, at the ongoing Commonwealth Weightlifting Championships in Tashkent, Uzbekistan, Sanket Mahadev Sargar secured a gold medal. The Indian weightlifter successfully lifted 113 kgs in the men's 55 kg snatch category. Sanket has secured his first place in the competition and registered a new record. And even in the absence of the 2021 Tokyo Olympic silver medalist Mirabai Chanu, the Indian contingent has secured a decisive victory over the opposition on the first day of the Senior World Championships 2021. Sargar has also qualified for the upcoming 2022 Commonwealth Games in Birmingham. And that's all we have for you in this edition of Sports Buzz. News continues on DD India. Do stay tuned in. Thank you for watching.